One of the biggest performance inhibitors is GET requests. And in our project, we have a total of 121 of them. Now, what's a GET request? A GET request is when the website first downloads, it's going to download that HTML document. And then when the document is downloaded, it asks for all these external dependencies. And what I mean by external dependencies is anything that we have with regards to our CSS files, our images, our jQuery. These are all external, not just external out like to a different domain. I mean external to the HTML document itself. So the process of downloading a document is or downloading a web page is the HTML is going to download first, and then the HTML initiates a GET request. A GET request, when is initiated, it says your browser locally, the visitor or the visitor's browser, ask the server for a specific asset, like, hey, excuse me, server, do you have normalized.css? The server has to reply back and say, yes, I have it, ready for download, and then your browser starts initiating the download. Now, the file itself takes up a certain amount of time and obviously space to download, but added to that is the actual GET request, which has to actually send bits of data to the server to make the request, and that takes time. And then to get the response and to initiate the download is all just extra overhead in all of these calls, these GET requests. Now, obviously, you're going to have a GET request, and you're going to have to best practices still says that your CSS should be external, but so with all those best practices and things you should do, you still want to minimize the GET requests. So what we're going to do now is actually minimize the GET requests, at least for our CSS, by consolidating all of our CSS that we have into a single file. And that way, it'll download all of our CSS from one GET request. Still has to do one, but it'll all be compiled into one, so it'll minimize them and speed things up a bit. So here's what we're going to do in order to get that done. I'm going to go into my CSS folder, and I have my main.css file, right? And this is going to be the guy that we take all of this other code and copy and paste it in there. Now, before I do anything, I love to mess stuff up. I don't know if I love to do it, but I certainly do it enough to where you'd think that. So first order of business, I'm going to make a duplicate of it and just keep this safe. So this is all good, my main.css. This main, I'm going to open up, and here's what I'm going to do. When I look at the CSS that I have over here, I have normalized, slide bars, the BX slider, magnificent pop-up, and this is just something from I was messing around with outside of the video. And then I have my main.css, which is what we're looking at now. So everything's in order. What I want to do is add all these into this document. Now, remember, CSS means cascading style sheets. Basically, since this is the order that I'm requesting these documents in my HTML, this is the same order I want to include them in my main.css folder. So here's what I'm going to do to kind of make sure that visually I know what's going on. I'm just going to I copied this little CSS comments code. And here we go, and I'm just going to go, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different includes I'm putting in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe I'll 1, 2, 3. And these are going to be what I use to actually add these guys in there. I'm going to add them in between the comments. So if ever I update the plugins, I could actually go back to this code and I know exactly where it is, because if I don't put it this way, you could just imagine that I have all the code in sort of a hodgepodge, and it would make it not impossible, but much more laborious to actually update a plugin or add something new. Because if I add a new plugin that requires CSS, I still want to put it before my before my main.css, right? So everything is in beautiful, and this is, I could even put over here just to play it way safe. I'll put it in here, Dragos custom CSS. There we go. All right, so that's good. I just sort of setting the stage for my stuff and for my code. And here we go. So the first order of business, let me bring normalize in here. I'm just going to straight up copy all of normalize and then paste it right in there. Okay, that's in. No worries there. Next is slide bars over here. So let me open up slide bars. I'm just selecting all of it and copying it. And here we go. I'll pop it in slide bars. Cool. Then we have the BX slider. We're done with slide bars. BX slider. Copy that and bring it into right here. BX slider. Nice. And is that it? Oh, yeah, magnificent pop-up. No, it's not it. Magnificent pop-up.css. Okay. Let's see, just looking through it like this, it looks fine to me. The true test is going to be once we actually test it, right? Because we're going to have to do, I don't even know if that was one of the dividers. Okay, before I get too into that. All right, that's cool. That's our main.css. Now that's our new main. So that means that we can remove all this other stuff over here, and it should look exactly the same. So instead of me actually deleting the code, I just do this business where I comment out all the stuff I don't need. And now, so I don't need that stuff. This stuff is cool. Now let me test this file. This is the proof is in the pudding, right? Is that right? Yep, here's my big long file. Normalize, great. It works. Looking good to me. Okay. All right, so that's it. I mean, so what I did now, I don't know if this is gonna, since I'm local, let's see. Oh, now this is just getting, I'm not sure what's going on. This is not a good gauge. Now I'm looking at it, says 123 requests. Not necessarily an accurate gauge since we're looking at the local version over here. I was wondering if that would do it. But here's what we do know. We did add it all there, so for sure we know that it's all at least four less get requests. So from that perspective, we did a good job. Final order of business, I would say, is to actually just delete this code since we don't need it, and that's it.